Hello and welcome back to the HPSTL Film Room Series. Today we're looking at two matches involving Boys 17 Royal and Chicago Bounce from the 2020 BWVC qualifier in Chicago. The first thing we'll look at is one version of a scouting chart that we use during tournaments. On the left side you'll see shot charts for each individual player scouted on the other team, and on the right some tendencies, how active the setter is, their blocking schemes, primary attackers, just one of a few ways that we prepare for a match. Looking at the back of this particular scouting report, we obviously had a good idea of what we were getting. We identified their best server, best blocker, our serving targets, and chances we had to trap block. We felt great going into this match. Unfortunately, sometimes you do your homework and the other team makes a change. This is a huddle match report filtered by athlete. I've highlighted number 12 and number 35 since they weren't on our initial scout and they have a pretty obvious impact on the match. They ran more back row attacks and hit some shots that we didn't expect, which forced us to have to adjust on the fly and created some frustration for us early on in the match. You'll see in these clips here that they attack a lot of line, which doesn't show up in our initial scouting report if you go back to that. They also run a lot of BIC and 30 in transition, which is something that we didn't expect based on the scouting that we had done. This is the overall match report from Huddle. In addition to lineup changes from our opponent, we also struggled primarily with passing, which allowed our opponent to start releasing from our middles and close to the pin easier. Even when we scored, there were two blockers on our pin attackers. Additionally, we made lots of unforced errors and only averaged 7.3 digs per set, a number that we'll look at more later on. Luckily, we got to play this team again the next day. We used scouting and data from match 1 to alter our game plan. You can see on the stat sheet here that our errors and defensive numbers improved drastically in the second match. An important point for us was to use our middles more. Our opponent locked in on our pins in match 1, so we took some chances early in both sets and found points. Our middles were hitting against empty or late blocks and found points early on, allowing us to separate before our opponent adjusted. We also saw a massive defensive improvement in the second match. We made 28 digs in 2 sets versus 22 in 3 sets in the first match, basically doubling our defensive production per set. Having 2 fully scouted matches from our opponent was a huge help in this improvement. Even as the opponent made lineup changes, we had earlier scouting reports to look at to help us adjust on the fly. We did well in transition, extending rallies, and finding points in out-of-system situations, increasing frustration and errors from our opponents. Even if you're not scoring right away, committing to extending rallies throughout a match can wear down your opposition and lead to some crucial errors down the stretch in a match. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how advanced scouting and stats can be used together to prepare for a match, and is particularly important in multiple matches against the same team. Throw any questions our way on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and we'll see you guys in the gym soon.